What if Lucifer never fell, but was summoned to rule the chaos? In the forgotten records of the primordial night, before time was even counted, there was a summons. Not a fall, not a rebellion, but a silent call, a dark assignment. Lucifer was not merely cast out. He was placed, appointed to command what the heavens would never admit existed, the hidden hierarchy of hell. Behind the veils of fear and muffled sermons lies a structure, a secret, meticulously crafted organization built like a spiritual army. And at its center stands the light-bearer, Lucifer. But he does not rule alone. Under his command, 72 names whisper in the shadows. They are the demons of the Goetia, not myths, but titles, functions, codes of spiritual warfare. What you might call a legion is, in truth, a carefully organized hierarchy of power, role, and purpose. Each name carries a mission, and what they obey is not chaos, it is a command, and that command has a throne. What if the 72 demons are in fact enforcers of a will greater than hell itself? Lucifer does not act on impulse. He acts by design. So why then does the Bible never name them? Why do the official records of heaven avoid speaking the names of the Goetia? There are forbidden documents, buried works such as the Lemegeton and the Ars Goetia, that describe in detail who these beings are, what they do and what they seek. They are not legends. They are infernal blueprints. In this series, we will descend through the layers of this hidden structure. Each episode will reveal another level. Today, we begin with the throne, and it belongs to Lucifer. He's not just the prince of hell. He is the architect of the demon's secret order. But he is not alone. There is an inner circle, 4 commanders, 7 pillars, and finally, the 72, what religion concealed. The Goetia recorded. Clerics silenced it. Inquisitors burned it. But the names survived. Every name will be revealed, and every secret exposed. But first, do you have the courage to descend into the infernal council? Prepare yourself. What comes next is not a story, it is a map. A forbidden map of the architecture of evil. The hidden council that serves Lucifer is about to be revealed. And the first name is not what you expect. What do you think about this? Write it in the comments. Before the 72, there are 4, and they answer to no one except Lucifer. At the very top of the infernal hierarchy, long before the names of the Goetia were etched into forbidden grimoires, there was an inner circle, a council, 4 thrones, 4 primordial forces. They are not merely demons, they are archetypes of imbalance, corrupted intelligence, and absolute power. They sit at Lucifer's table, and each commands a legion of entities. Their names do not appear in sacred texts, but their signatures echo in blood-sealed pacts. First, Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, not just a grotesque figure, but the strategist of chaos. Beelzebub is the mind behind the infernal empire. He controls influence, the corruption of ideas, the collapse of moral order. Second, Asmodeus, desire incarnate. More than the demon of lust, he is the embodiment of insatiable craving, not merely carnal, but existential. Asmodeus is the hunger that drives civilizations to ruin. Third, Leviathan, the serpent of the depths, the master of the mental abyss. He moves through the deepest currents of human consciousness. Insecurity, pride, envy, every poisonous emotion flows through him. Fourth, Astaroth, the fallen archangel of wisdom, once a being of light, now the advocate of hell, the most eloquent, the most dangerous. Astaroth does not seduce by force, but by argument. These 4 are the pillars of the hidden structure. They are the ones who keep the 72 in line. They answer directly to Lucifer, and among them there is no rivalry, only pact. What if hell is not anarchy, but a dark court ruled by intellect? While religions paint hell as nothing but chaos and flames, the true structure resembles a government, an empire, a hidden state operating in the spiritual realm of humanity. Beelzebub shapes ideologies. Asmodeus infects relationships. Leviathan distorts identities. Astaroth rewrites truths. They do not appear in nightmares. They hide in daily decisions, in subtle addictions, in thoughts you never dared to speak aloud. If Lucifer is the light that fell, These four are the shadows that multiplied. But even this council is not the end. They are the gatekeepers, the ones who guard access to the true chain of command, the 72 demons of the Goetia. And among these 72, there are kings, princes, dukes, marquises, and counts. An inverted nobility. What few realize is that the most feared among them is not the strongest. Some demons hide their power in humility, others in rage and destruction. And one name was chosen to open the gates of this revelation. His name is Bael, the first of the Goetia. But why did Lucifer place him on the front lines? If this struck you, like this video and hit the hyper button to help spread the word. Why did Lucifer place Bael as the first name, if he almost never appears? In the forbidden book known as the Ars Goetia, among the 72 names, one holds the very first position. He is not the most destructive. He is not the loudest, but he is the most quietly positioned. Bael, a king, commander of 66 legions, and ruler over invisibility. But why give him the first place? Why put him ahead of more well-known names like Asmodeus, Paimon, or Astaroth? Some scholars claim Bael's placement is symbolic. Others say it is strategic. What if Bael is the true ghost code of the hierarchy? A figure that can only be understood by those who know what to look for. His power is not in what he shows, but in what he hides. Bael is the keeper of perception, the one who covers, distorts, erases. He operates in the gray zone of consciousness. You don't see him, but he changes what you see. If the 72 are an army, Bael is the veil, the first layer, the curtain. He appears as a being with 3 heads, a toad, a man, and a cat. 3 aspects, 3 natures. The toad, symbol of mutation. The man, symbol of rational power. The cat, symbol of the nocturnal predator. These images are not arbitrary. They form a mask, a system of disguise. Bael is not frontal. He is the distorted reflection in the mirror, the whisper behind the curtain. And in the Goetia, his specialty is making people invisible. But not only in the physical sense. He erases names. He wipes away stories. He deletes collective memories. What if Bael is responsible for everything religion has erased from history? How many truths have been deleted? How many biblical figures were forgotten by design and not by accident? Bael is the agent of that sacred disappearance. And that is why Lucifer placed him first. Before opening the archives, the filter must be activated. Without it, the truth would be unbearable. Bael is the test. If you pass him, you can see the rest. If not, you are lost in distractions. Now that we have passed through the veil, we reach the first prince to be revealed. And with him, a new level of power. His name is Paimon, and unlike Bael, he wants to be seen. Paimon is the most revered prince of the Goetia. But why do so many modern sects invoke him in silence? Subscribe. What comes next is even darker. Why is Paimon the only demon in the Goetia? Who demands music during his summoning? If Bael is the veil, Paimon is the stage, the second most mentioned name in Goetic circles. But to many modern occultists, he is the most revered. In the Ars Goetia, Paimon is described as a great king who appears riding a camel, surrounded by sound, trumpets, choirs, chants. A demon who never arrives in silence. He enters like a ritual performance. But why? Because for Paimon, sound is a tool of control. He dominates the senses through frequency. Music, voice, intonation. None of these are mere ornamentation. They are spiritual technology. What if Paimon is not just summoned, but programmed through sound? Vibrational codes, ancient chants, forgotten rituals that activate his presence. His dominion includes the arts, the occult sciences, and mental manipulation, not just knowledge, but the power to shape thoughts. Paimon teaches all secret sciences, reveals the mysteries of the earth, and commands legions that influence kings and political systems. Yes, the Prince of the Goetia does not work only on a personal level. He influences the collective, groups, ideologies, decisions, but always in a subtle, aesthetic, enchanting way. In 17th century occult texts, it is believed that Paimon was once an angel of the heavenly host, connected to knowledge and worship through music. But when he was cast down, his song became dissonant, and instead of worshipping, he began seducing. The sound he now brings intoxicates. It does not invite, it ensnares. And here's a detail few notice. In the last 20 years, Paimon's name has appeared with growing frequency in films, games and popular culture. Do you think that's a coincidence? Or could it be a symbolic reintroduction? A preparation to make him familiar? Normalized? Summonable? What if Paimon is already working behind modern art, entertainment, and the music that shapes generations? He doesn't shout. He sings, and while many wonder who is the strongest of the 72, Paimon may already be inside. But behind the song, there is a deeper vibration, an echo rising from the depths of the earth, from a being who does not sing, but consumes. His name is Asmodeus, and with him comes fire. Asmodeus doesn't negotiate. He devours, and his origin is older than Adam. Share this with someone who needs to see what's been hidden. Asmodeus is not merely a demon of lust. He is the desire that survived the destruction of Sodom. Before sin existed, there was desire. And before desire was named as error, it was personified. His name echoes among the ashes of fallen cities, in the whisper of Sodom, in the ruins of Gomorrah. Asmodeus, called by many the demon of lust. But that title is a caricature, a comfortable reduction to avoid confronting the abyss he truly represents. Asmodeus is not just lust. He is the impulse that breaks sacred covenants, the force that turns pleasure into addiction, relationship into obsession, worship into possession. What if Asmodeus is not the demon of desire, but the desire cursed for wanting more than heaven allowed? In apocryphal texts like the Book of Tobit, Asmodeus appears as the demon who kills 7 husbands of the same woman before the marriage can be consummated. Why? Because he cannot tolerate the covenant, because he refuses any sacred bond that bypasses him. Asmodeus is the breaker, the one who undoes what was meant to endure. That is why his presence is felt in broken homes, in addictions fed in secret, in promises shattered by irresistible temptation. But there is something even deeper. Asmodeus has an origin older than Adam. According to Hebrew mystical traditions, he was created neither as man nor angel. He emerged as a distortion, an echo of creation, an energy left uncontained. Some Kabbalists associate him with the sexual energy of Eden, suppressed, diverted, and ultimately unleashed in its most destructive form. And the most unsettling part? He does not act directly. Asmodeus infects. He enters through the will, feeds desire until it devours the soul. He does not need to appear. It is enough for you to feel. In Goetic rituals, it is said Asmodeus hates to be controlled. He screams, thrashes, breaks the circle, because he carries something the others do not. Hatred for having been cast out of a paradise he never set foot in. What if lust is not the real problem, but what it hides? It is not the pleasure, it is the obsession. Not the body, but the spirit trapped inside it. Asmodeus is the embodiment of all that seduces and destroys. And wherever he passes, love becomes captivity. But even he bows before another name, one of the most hidden, most feared, and least understood. His name is Andras, and he does not seduce, command, or sing. He only kills. Andras rides like the reaper of hell, and his sole mission is to cancel destinies under Lucifer's direct command. Have you ever wondered about this? Share your thoughts in the comments. He doesn't speak, doesn't bargain, doesn't rule. Andras only carries out spiritual sentences. Among the 72 names of the Goetia, few are feared by occultists as much as Andras. He is not a king, nor a duke, nor a marquis, but his role places him in a position of privilege. He is the executioner. When hell decides that a destiny must be cut short, Andras is the one who rides, described in the Ars Goetia as a fallen angel with the head of a raven, mounted on a black wolf and wielding a flaming sword. He's the symbol of deliberate annihilation, not random destruction, but programmed execution. What if Andras is the one who silences voices before they can become prophecy, Andras works in the shadows of great spiritual tragedies. People who were one step away from awakening, prophets who never got to speak, bloodlines extinguished before fulfilling their purpose. He does not show up in dreams, visions, or public invocations. He strikes in the collapse, in the sudden accident, in the unexplained abandonment of faith. The grimoires say Andras sows discord among people. But that is a shallow description. He cancels covenants, plants doubt where there was alliance, conflict where there was trust, and he does it without raising suspicion. Because Andras is the spirit of the inevitable breakdown, of what you cannot explain, yet destroys all the same. Ancient cultures, including Babylonian and Syriac records, speak of reaping spirits that descended upon entire families, cutting off lines of prophets, kings, and sacred warriors. What if Andras is the spiritual force that prevents certain destinies from reaching completion? When someone is about to break the system, escape the religious matrix, or awaken hidden gifts, Andras is sent. He does not act on his own. He takes orders directly from Lucifer, because in every true hierarchy, there are those who command and those who eliminate threats. While Asmodeus seduces, while Paimon manipulates, Andras silences. But here's the catch. Those who try to summon Andras out of vanity or curiosity suffer violent attacks, mental fractures, emotional breakdowns. Because he does not answer to human desire, he answers to the higher will of the infernal hierarchy. And for that very reason, when he appears, it's already too late. Yet something darker still surrounds him. Andras is the first demon to act directly against the elect, against those carrying hidden spiritual potential. And behind it lies a prophecy few have ever heard of, a cycle of 7 destructions. And guess who stands at the center of it? Lucifer. There is a secret prophecy where 7 demons carry out Lucifer's final plan. And Andras is only the first. Like this, if any part of this made you uneasy, what if Lucifer's final plan is already in motion, carried out by 7 chosen demons? Not all demons of the Goetia were created equal. Some carry titles, others carry sentences, and 7 of them, only 7, are bound to a hidden prophecy, not written on parchment, but etched into the very bones of the world. This prophecy appears in fragments within forgotten texts like the Book of Enoch, the Testament of Solomon, and cursed manuscripts buried beneath centuries of religious censorship. It speaks of a dark cycle, 7 executors, 7 phases, 7 human structures to be corrupted, until they collapse. What if hell doesn't want to destroy everything at once, but to make the world crumble from within, one structure at a time? Andras was the first, executor of personal destiny, chancellor of divine callings. Now the cycle moves forward. The second is Marcosius, the reaper of courage, once an angel of the virtues, now a commander of inner destruction. The third, Focalor, lord of winds and waters. He rules over disasters, shipwrecks, and sudden storms. But his mission isn't only physical, it's emotional, to drown hope, to sink dreams before they can sail. The fourth, Vipar, who controls slow, incurable sickness. He works behind the scenes of the body's decay. His weapon is not pain, it's time. What if the illnesses that appear out of nowhere are spiritual? Signs of a deeper sabotage? The fifth, Paimon, the distorted reconciler. He mends broken ties, only so they can shatter again with greater violence. The sixth, Vine, master of fortress destruction. He attacks churches, institutions, governments, not through war, but through corruption. And the seventh, the most awaited, the one not yet fully unleashed, Belial. He doesn't execute. He rebuilds the world in his image, after the others have torn it down. These 7 are not scattered by chance. They follow a spiritual script, and they all answer to a mind above them. Lucifer doesn't need to act directly, when he has 7 hands already moving. Here's the core of it. They don't just operate in spiritual realms. Each of them manifests through people, systems, and moments in history. You've seen the effects. You just didn't know the names behind them. Wars sparked by twisted words, epidemics that shattered faith and hope, families destroyed by invisible emotions. All of these are visible expressions of an invisible plan. But here's the forgotten detail. Belial does not wait. He is already being worshipped in modern structures, and most don't even realize it. Belial is the most disguised of the seven, and his silent worship is shaping a new global religion. Subscribe. The truth doesn't stop here. Get early access to videos, choose upcoming topics, unlock exclusive content. In the densest core of the abyss, where time doesn't flow in a straight line, but loops in addictive labyrinthine circles, reigns Ammon, the demon of inverted reconciliation, distorted memory and emotional warfare. His appearance is an aberration of creation, the flaming head of a raven, and a body that is part wolf, part serpent. But the most terrifying thing about him is not his form. It's his power to reshape memories, corrupt ancient bonds, and make even the most faithful forget God. Lucifer placed him strategically within the infernal hierarchy as a lord of selective forgetting. Paimon doesn't erase memories, he rearranges them. He is the archivist of pain and betrayal, the one who plants doubt where faith once stood, who rewrites the past to serve hell's designs. A marriage destroyed by jealousy that never existed. A brother turning against another over a forged memory. A prophet losing his way because he no longer recognizes the voice of his God. All written in Ammon's invisible handwriting. It is said he was the demon who inspired scribes to twist sacred texts across the centuries, whispering into the ears of kings and popes, swapping words, hiding prophecies, inverting sentences, and more. Some whisper that even the Bible itself, in its most popular versions, contains passages subtly altered under his unseen influence. Paimon doesn't rule through shouting, he rules through insinuation. He plants ideas like poisoned seeds, patiently waiting for them to bloom into distrust, fear, and ruin. His throne is not in fire, but in forgetting. And there he reigns, among the ruins of what men once were, before their memories were corrupted. His most perverse work, he can make even an angel wonder if they ever truly loved the Creator. And once doubt takes root, hell has already won. Before everything, before Lucifer's fall, before the wars in heaven, before Eden was ever tainted, there was Bael. He is the first name whispered in the abyss, the very first echo of rebellion. While Lucifer was still igniting the fire of insurgency, Bael was already laying the foundation of the kingdom of darkness. His form is manifold, impossible to pin down, the head of a man, a cat, and a toad at once, the symbol of fragmentation, duplicity, and illusion. He is the distorted reflection of God, a broken throne and yet still a throne. Bael does not lead with fury, he leads with silence. He is the king who reigns from the shadows, the sovereign who never raises his voice, yet makes principalities tremble with a single glance. His role in the infernal hierarchy is not merely royal, he is the divider of worlds, separating what is holy from what is profane, what is revelation from what is deception. It was Bael who taught the first sorcerers the art of invisibility, not merely of bodies, but of intentions, the ability to mask the soul, to hide guilt, to blur the gaze of God. He governs the threshold between the seen and the unseen, between the faith that liberates and the doctrine that enslaves. They say he stood beside Lucifer when the light was torn into 1,000 shards, that his whisper was the first counsel that convinced the light-bearer to become shadow. And to this day, Bael does not serve, he judges. Because in hell, judgment doesn't happen after death. It begins the moment you choose to ignore your own conscience. Bael is the line that separates the before and the after. He is the portal between who we were and what we are becoming. And now I ask you, can you truly look at yourself and say you are still whole? Or has Bael already divided something within you without you even noticing? Like this post, if you feel it touched something hidden inside you. Comment, Bael is watching me. And let's see. How many can still see beyond the veil? What if Lucifer isn't the enemy, but the guardian of a truth no one dares to face? Behind every hierarchy, behind the 72 demons and their legions, there is a throne of fire, a symbol where light and darkness are intertwined, a being who is not merely the prince of darkness, but the embodiment of forbidden knowledge. Lucifer, the light-bearer, the one cast out of heaven, not as punishment, but as part of a greater design, a divine experiment in which balance had to be broken. He is the supreme commander, the hidden strategist who moves the pieces, yet remains a prisoner of his own fate. What few realize is that Lucifer never acts alone. He delegates power, rearranges the order, yet never loses control. His rebellion is also his prison. And at the heart of hell, among alliances, betrayals, and pacts, Lucifer watches humanity with burning eyes. What if the real war isn't between good and evil, but between ignorance and knowledge? Between those who embrace truth and those who choose the comfort of illusion. The 72 legions of the Goetia are more than demons. They are archetypes of the darkest places within ourselves. And Lucifer, seated on the invisible throne, is the mirror of our own shadow. But one final question remains. If this truth is real, why do we still keep our eyes shut? If this is the truth, why are our eyes still closed? And if all of this is real? Write your truth below. Share it to awaken those who still sleep.